Good evening and welcome to the meeting this evening. At this time, we have a City Council informational to be presented by the Norwich Prevention Coordinator, Hannah Onborn, on data collected on substance abuse for Norwich youth. Please.
Hi, everyone. How are you today?
Very good, thank you.
First and foremost, thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate you taking time out of your busy schedules to see me. I know it's the first for the Norwich Prevention Council, so it's really, really a thrill to be here and speaking to all of you, and I'm really excited to get to share some of the work that we do, and I hope that by the end of this presentation, you are as passionate, or at least a little bit as passionate about prevention as I am, because then you'll know how important it is to the city and the well-being of the people who live here. So I'll start just by giving you a brief agenda, you know, the boring stuff of what we'll go through today. We're going to start with the basics of who the Norwich Prevention Council is and what we do. Then we'll go through some of our past goals, and by past I mean last year, which seems like a lifetime ago at this point. And then we'll go through some of our past and present activities. We'll compare some data from the past 6 years, which is the last 3 data sets that we have available. And then I'll give you some conclusions based on those data. You all have copies of the presentation available to you in front of you, as well as some swag. I never show up anywhere empty-handed. And I learned that from the best, Kate, which I'm sure you know as well. So that's me. We'll jump right in. So what is the Norwich Prevention Council? I'll give you a little bit of a rundown. So who we are is a coalition of community members and organization leaders, parents, youth, and pretty much anything in between that come together to create prevention programming for the community. We use public health strategy to do so. We use the Strategic Prevention Framework, which is a long-winded way of saying we use evidence-based programming. And we really aim to be inclusive and thoughtful and mindful throughout all of our programming. Obviously, a big part of who we are is, you know, who funds us, who raised us, which in a big part is Norwich Human Services. We are a subsidiary of Norwich Human Services, and I'm housed in Norwich Control the grant, which funds me and the work that I do. So what do we do? The coalition works collaboratively to prevent young people from trying and continuing to use harmful substances like alcohol, marijuana, tobacco, nicotine, etc. The intention of our programs and projects are to lessen the impact of drug use throughout the city of Norwich, and we employ several public health strategies to do so, like I mentioned. So now I'll move on to talk about some of our goals. Obviously, as a grant-funded coalition and one that aims to use public health strategy, we always have to back that up with some smart and measurable goals. So these are some of the ones that we've used to inform our activities and our strategies for the last year. The first goal that we used was to increase community collaboration, coordination, and community-based networking. And some of the ways we wanted to do that was by providing information across multiple different platforms, building the skills of our Prevention Council members, providing support to community partners and members, and assessing achievements through our biannual survey, which you'll see some of the data in some of our following slides. Our second goal is the obvious one, preventing and reducing youth substance use, and we do that by providing information to the community about the harms of substance use. We disseminated a PSA about teen marijuana use. We provided safe storage to parents for medications, marijuana, and alcohol. We wanted to work with community partners to implement prevention programming, complete compliance checks with our local police department, and utilize social media to spread awareness about the harms of substance use. Now, this is my favorite part of the presentation. I wanted to give you a snapshot of the work we did, but strictly by the numbers, so you get an idea of the magnitude of the work that we have done as a group. So, starting with goal number 1, increasing community collaboration, coordination, and community-based networking. So, Over the last year, the coalition has attended 18 community events. We have hosted 17 coalition trainings, including cultural competency trainings, adverse childhood experience trainings, and many on the grant writing experience that we've gone through in the last year. And we've also used 7 different informational platforms to spread the message about drug prevention, including social media, obviously, billboards, bus ads, Google ads, and pretty much anything else you can think of. We've exhausted all of our options, pretty much. Now, to work towards our goal number 2 of preventing and reducing substance use, we hosted 23 events ourselves. We ran 4 national campaigns, which includes Prescription Drug Take Back Days, Red Ribbon Week, and National Prevention Week. And we created and implemented 8 reoccurring programs, which includes the 7 Challenges program and the First Step program. And if you aren't familiar with those, don't worry, I will cover them in the next couple slides. And this is my favorite slide. I know I said the others were my favorite, but this is my favorite. This shows how many people we reached through our programming. And in person, we reached over 5,000 people. But through online programming, we reached over 359,000 people. And that's mainly through TikTok and Google Ads. So the power of social media is real. And I don't just say that as a young person, I say that as someone who uses and implements with social media, because it really does work. Even though those 9-year-olds, they can be cruel, I promise. So now to move on to some community highlights. Our programming truly grew tremendously over the last couple of years. We are always trying to be creative with the way that we implement substance use prevention, because obviously it's no one's favorite topic. I can't tell you how many times I've heard, "Miss, it doesn't matter. Miss, it's not that important. Miss, it's just alcohol." Okay, it's not just alcohol. Let's talk about it. So they don't really understand. They don't understand the nuances. So we had to be creative, right? So we'll get into exactly what we did to do that. We started with a new program called Sunny Side Up Kids, which is an elementary school program that helps kids understand emotions and make healthy decisions. In grades K through 3, we really focus on identifying and talking about emotions, making healthy decisions. And then in grades 4 and 5, we start talking about substance safety, identifying substances and their harms, knowing how to say no, and everything in between. We noticed that middle school was a little bit too late to start talking about substance use. So we acted quick. Which some of you probably think is too early, but I promise it's not. We piloted this program in Moriarty and Mahan Elementary School, and in the first year we saw 275 students. And we only received positive feedback so far, although sometimes it's hard to give negative feedback to this face, I understand, but I'm still waiting to hear more from the teachers. So we hope to continue to implement this in the next school year. The next program we implemented was the First Step program, which is a referral-based substance use intervention that shortens the suspension time for students in school. This was actually the first program I implemented upon being the prevention coordinator, and it's a curriculum that I created when I got here. And this year we started something really exciting where each school has a time slot in my schedule where their students can utilize this program. So if they have students that are suspended from school for using substances, they are immediately enrolled in the program and have a time slot to come see me that week. Students who come to this program, it's a 1-session program that's about an hour and a half, and we talk about communication skills, healthy relationships. We talk about what they're going through, some underlying trauma that they might be experiencing, and then, of course, we talk about the harms of substance use. We found it's really important that we talk about safety when it comes to substance use as well, because eventually these kids are going to be out in the world, they're going to be adults, and they need to know how this stuff really works, and they need to know how to be safe. So that's really what we work towards with this program. As of right now, we have had 44 students be in this program for this school year, with a range of middle school and high school students and 1 elementary school student. This next program is a new program we've implemented this year as well, called the 7 Challenges Program. This is an evidence-based program that is an intervention for kids and teens showing signs of a substance use disorder. This program does not force students to quit. It really has a focus on addressing the underlying traumas that cause substance use in the first place. Before we make any decisions about cutting back or stopping the substance use altogether, addressing that problem that caused the substance use is really the key, because if you don't address that, they have no reason to stop using the substance and they're more likely to go back to it anyway. So that's really the importance of this program. This is a multi-week recurring session, so it's a little bit more of a time commitment, and it is a new program. So as of right now, we have 2 students who are active participants, but we are hoping to start our first group in the next couple of weeks, so that is exciting. Our next program is Teens Empowering Norwich, which is a teen leadership group that builds community connectedness, hosts teen-focused events, and teaches important life skills. So as of right now, this is a brand new program. We don't have tons of teens who are involved, so we're really focused on building that community connectedness within the teenagers and hosting those safe, substance-free events that build that rapport and that safe feeling for the teenagers. It is my hope that in the next couple of months, we can hand it off to the teenagers to plan the events and host them themselves so that they can really take ownership over this program. And then I will focus on hosting the basic life skill trainings for them, like financial literacy, resume workshops, self-care, interviewing for jobs, and things of that nature so that they are ready to go into the real world when they graduate high school. Now, of course, we have to address the elephant in the room, which is opioids. I am trained and certified to be a Narcan trainer. So that is one of the things that we do as a part of the Prevention Council. I am also a part of the Opioid Task Force as the Prevention Subcommittee Chair. And it's my hope that we can continue to do Narcan trainings and distribute Narcan as much as possible, because we all know how important that is and how much it impacts the community every single day. So our library initiative is one of the few examples we have of passive programming, which means that I'm not there every single month facilitating programs, but we do host a monthly informational table there that is about a variety of different topics. So some include gang awareness and prevention, mental health awareness and prevention, and of course, substance use and everything in between. So our tables usually focus on one specific topic. They provide resources and activity and usually some sort of handout or pamphlet. Last month was conservation and, of course, Earth Day focused. So we worked with Public Works and we had them bring in some of their recycling and waste removal resources, which was really great. And one of the first times that we've done that interdepartmental work. The Rose City Block Party slide, I will make a note here. We had a little bit of a typo on your pamphlets. So the description doesn't quite describe the actual event. So the slide on the screens will be more accurate for you. So the Rose City Block Party was probably one of our most successful events. It was truly a celebration of our community and the work that we had done as the Prevention Council. And we obviously partnered with Norwich Human Services, Youth, Family, and Recreation. We had a DJ, games, activities, blow-up obstacle courses, a rock wall, and more. It was truly a time that our volunteers from NFA and the Prevention Council all came together and made it happen, because without them, it would not have worked out well. We had hundreds of people come and show up, and luckily it was going to rain that day, and NFA was able to make space for us to have it in their gymnasium, so they really saved the day for us that day, because it would have been sad to have to cancel. It was a lot of work to plan it, so thank goodness for them. But there truly was something for everyone. I hope that you can all save the date, because September 14th we will be having one again. So it is an annual event now. So please mark it in your calendar, because we hope you can be there. Of course, being a public health focused coalition, we have to make a push for cultural competency, and we do that with our Culture Chat series, which truly was my love child. I loved it so much. We have had 7 different presentations, some on LGBTQ, some on BIPOC mental health, some on Sikhism. Thank you, Councilman Singh, for that. And everything, that represents Norwich. We really hope to continue this program as interest continues, because there are so many different cultures that make up our community, and if we don't celebrate them, then I think we're at a loss, right? Because there are so many beautiful pieces that make up who we are. So it's really nice to be able to recognize that. So that's what we do through these presentations. Last but not least is our Seniors for Prevention group, which is brand new. It is our new subcommittee for the Norwich Prevention Council, which will focus on, utilizing the skills and experience of seniors to build prevention programming for people, for seniors. So it's basically run by seniors for seniors, and we hope that it can reduce risky behaviors and prevent mental health and substance use in that population. We're really excited to get that started. That is something that's up and coming this June, so if you'd like to be involved or know someone who would like to be involved, please let me know. So obviously, we have to talk about data. Some people love data. I'm one of them. But I will try to keep it as brief as possible for those of you who don't. This first slide here is the lifetime use of our core substances. And those are the substances that we focus the most on, being alcohol, nicotine, and marijuana. You can see here that we have 3 different data sets, 2019, 2021, and 2023, which we just took a few months ago. You can see that obviously with the pandemic, there was a spike across the board in substance use, which we all expect knowing what happened during that time. And you can also see in 2023 that there has been a decrease across the board in these substances. Not all substances that we surveyed are going to be represented in these slides, but across the board we did see a decrease in all the substances that we measured. So that includes opioids, that includes medications, that includes so many different things. So if you'd like to see the full data set, that is available on the Norwich Prevention Council website. So this slide is the recent use. The last one was the lifetime use. So this slide represents the last 30 days of the use of substances. So again, it's alcohol, nicotine, and marijuana. You can see once again an uptick in 2021, and once again a decrease in 2023. So one of the biggest indicators of whether or not teens use substances is their perceived harm. So whether or not they think the substance is going to hurt them. And we all know that sometimes teenagers don't perceive how harmful these things are. So this slide shows the percentage of students who reported there was a great risk associated with the behavior. So these behaviors are using vape devices for nicotine, drinking alcoholic beverages nearly every day, using marijuana 1 or 2 times a week. You can see once again that we've seen an increase of risk being realized here, which is really positive and kind of unexpected, especially for marijuana, because with the legalization of marijuana being on the forefront, we've seen more and more teenagers using or getting caught in school being high. So it was a bit of a surprise to see that they do perceive more of a risk, but I hope that that's from the work that we do as a coalition and as a community to communicate that risk. So the next slide shows parental attitudes. Believe it or not, parental attitudes is the biggest indicator of whether or not a student is going to use a substance or not. So they really do care what parents think. They might not always seem like they do, but they really do. So this is the percentage of students who reported their parents thought it would be very wrong for them to use a substance, the same substances that we saw on the last slide. So we can see again that this has increased from previous years. You'll notice that we didn't measure this in 2019 for vaping devices because it wasn't as popular back then. So we have responded to the increase in vaping with nicotine by surveying for this, which is definitely a step forward, and we hope to continue to monitor these substances and respond as needed. So perceived availability is an obvious one. The more available people think substances are, the more they're going to be likely to use them. So this one shows the percentage of students who reported it would be very easy for them to get this substance. We see a decrease, which for marijuana, again, is kind of surprising. A question that is often asked is how reliable or how accurate is this data, right? And that's something I ask myself 10 ways to Sunday, because when I get this slide, I'm like, that doesn't make much sense. So it's something that we're looking into for future surveys, because right now students take their surveys on computers at school. So we're looking for more reliable ways to either stress the importance of these surveys or find them a safer, more anonymous way to do so that they don't feel like their answers are being tracked in any way. So that is definitely something on our radar, I promise. Obviously, mental health is a huge risk factor for substance use. So this shows the percentage of students who said yes to having thoughts of hurting themselves or hurting themselves on purpose. It shows for all 3 data sets that these numbers are too high, right? So we're really, really hoping that we can focus in on this and lower these numbers, but we did see a decrease in 2023, which is promising. This last slide shows mental health, the percentage of students who said yes to feeling sad or hopeless almost every day for 2 weeks or more, or having seriously considered attempting suicide. Again, these numbers are way too high, so this will be a focus moving forward for us, but also for the school system. All right, so we're wrapping up here, I promise. I won't keep you too much longer. So obviously we have to respond to our new data sets with some sort of action. So one of the pieces of action that we took, or one of the ways that we moved forward, was by adding a new priority substance. So in the past, alcohol and marijuana have been our 2 priorities. And this year we added nicotine because that was an obvious increasing rapidly substance that we really needed to address. So making it a priority allows us to do that through our grant funding and gives us more room to kind of be flexible with the kind of work that we do. Alcohol remains the most commonly used substance, with 16.3% of Norwich youth having used alcohol in their lifetime. The biggest way that we plan to address this moving forward is really stressing the social host law. That is the biggest thing. The top way students were getting alcohol this year was from their parents, with permission. So we really need to stress the importance that parents are not giving their kids alcohol, and by no means necessary are allowing their kids to drink in their home with their friends, because that is unsafe, and we all know what that leads to down the line. Nicotine is the second most common substance, with 10.6% of youth reporting having used vape pens for nicotine in their lifetime. And the way we most likely plan to address this is by educating the elementary school students through our Sunny Side Up Kids program. It's really important that we get in early and we get in often, and we're encouraging parents to talk early and often with their kids about substance use before they start using, because sometimes we wait too long and then we've missed the boat. And we really want to ensure parents aren't missing the boat with substance use. With marijuana, that is the 3rd most popular substance, with 9.3% of youth reporting having used marijuana in their lifetime. And again, the top priority for us is educating parents on the social host law and how it applies to marijuana. You might see going around Norwich this month our new bus ad, Puff Puff Cuffs. It is educating parents on the social host law for marijuana, and that it is a Class A misdemeanor for them to share marijuana with their kids and their friends in their home. So we're really, really, really hammering this into their heads so that they know that it's not acceptable. Some conclusions for you, and I'll keep it brief, I promise. Ooh, uh-oh. Technical difficulties, at least it was on the last few slides. So obviously, what's next for us? We just finished reapplying for the next 5 years of our Drug-Free Communities grant, but in the meantime, we've been working on a sustainability plan which allows us to ensure that no matter what funding comes our way, we can make sure that our programming stays no matter what. So it just makes sure that we have a plan in place to either secure more funding or implement our programming in new and inventive ways that doesn't require quite as much funding as we have now. Obviously, when you think drug prevention programming, I want you to think of me. So this is my contact information. If you ever want more information on any of these programs, please feel free to reach out to me. I'm always happy to answer any questions, or if you have any ideas on things that I might be missing, I'm always welcome to new and inventive ideas from you as well. And if you want to stay up to date on our new and exciting ideas, you can also follow us on Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook. So please give us a follow. Obviously, too, before I close out and open it up to questions, I want to give a special shout out to Kate Mildy and Aaron Hagan, who are my supervisors. Without them allowing me to fund my crazy and inventive ideas, I wouldn't be able to make the progress that I have made and meet nearly 5,000 people in the last year. So thank you to them, and thank you to you guys once again. Any questions?
Hannah, thank you very much. Appreciate your enthusiasm and all your creativity. We're about to start the council meeting, but I would like to see if anyone has a specific question here on the council at this time. Alderman Bettencourt.
Just one thing, when you came up with the numbers on the social media, was that just a total of hits on the different TikToks and stuff? Is that what we're talking about?
Yeah, it's like
Total views?
the views, the interactions, and all that sort of stuff.
Okay, just a
I
total
know
of
they
that.
can just like see it and scroll past, but I like to think that they're actually watching the whole thing.
Well, yeah, it won't register unless they look at it for a certain amount of time. But no, I was just wondering, so, I mean, we don't really know how many individual people.
Right.
Okay, all right.
Could just be a bot too.
Yeah, no, I just want to keep it in perspective, that's all.
Thank you, Alderman Singh.
Thank you very much. Just a quick thing, thank you for all the work you have been doing. I will encourage you to have more partnerships with the Norwich Public Schools as well as our Norwich PD, because everything is correlated to what you have been doing. And I think it's very important that our kids know it's cool to be saying no. You know, and we
Absolutely.
need to find innovative ways to spread our message. You know, I would love if there was a sign outside City Hall, say no to drugs, you know, something like that.
Absolutely. We could do that.
But,
We could definitely do that.
thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. I hope tonight goes smoothly for you guys.
Hope so too.